Hello, everyone. Thank you guys for tuning in again to Poetic Justice, hosted by members of the NAACP Chicago Westside branch. I am so happy to be here to talk to you guys about this information that I have for you guys. So one question I want to start us off is, why in any central assessment of America is that the typical black family is so much more poor than a white family a century and a half after slavery. All right, so I do want to talk about a couple things such as redlining. And most of you guys may be familiar with this term, but to the public and the masses, I just want to explain what redlining is. And basically, redlining is a refusal to someone because they live in an area deemed to be poor financial risk and to be more in debt. It is in the United States and Canada. Redlining is a systematic denial of various services to residents of specific, often racially associated neighborhoods or communities, either directly or through the selective raising of prices. While best known examples of redlining have involved denial of financial services such as banking or insurance, other services include our healthcare and even supermarkets. The picture I have listed is a picture of Chicago. So redlining has played a crucial role in American wealth accumulation. People buy homes with federally subsidized mortgages, and that helps build up equity and pass their assets on to their children. But as recently as the 1960s, government policy has excluded people of color in this practice, known as redlining. So the Federal Housing Administration, they designated predominantly black neighborhoods as no-go zones for government insured mortgage loans. So, redlining through the years has created systematic oppression. It has included social engineering and segregative practices, and that basically ultimately explains why the city of Chicago is so racially segregated. So that's the reason why a lot of people couldn't get started. A lot of people of color, they couldn't get started as in buying their first home just because of the color of their skin. Now, another thing comes into play where some people of color, they could get loans, they could secure these loans, but what was the price of that? So another thing came into play. This term is called reverse redlining. And reverse redlining basically means that this occurs when a lender or insurer particularly targets minority consumers, not to deny them loans or insurance, but to charge them more than what would be charged to a similarly situated white consumer. So this specifically marketing the most expensive and onerous loan products. So for many years, black people, we still had to find shelter. We still need to make it happen. So what do? So we tried this thing out where it was a contract for deed. And a contract for deed basically means that's an arrangement usually offered by speculators who bought the properties already, and then they require a down payment from the person. At the time, these were people of color, and they would pay monthly. So it was a rent-to-own type of situation. But the difference is the sale price and the effective interest rate will be widely inflated. So now you come to the point where you have a home, but now your interest rate is just going off the rocket, or your mortgage amount just seems so much more than your other counterparts. But this is not by accident. This is not by coincidence. It's done on purpose, just to help white succession. So they were getting paid because they were the owner of the home, receiving monthly rent checks. And if the person that was renting missed one payment, they can kick them out. Easy as that. And why not do that? That's what we call reverse redlining. So to discriminate against that, or to actually help with that, before we get into the discrimination part, I do want to bring up one last term. Let me let you guys see. This practice is called blockbusting. So, in a way for banks to make more money, they would persuade owners to sell their property cheaply because of the fear that black people will be moving into this neighborhood. So, by making the white people flee, and they will buy these properties for very cheap, and then turn around and rent it to people of color for a higher price. So the picture I have up right now is actually a photo that was taken in 1962 in Chicago. And it basically states, would you panic if this person moved next door? And people were so nervous around living around black people, they would literally pack up, leave, sell their place for dirt cheap, and thus the cycle continues. So Chicago basically became like a hotbed of a contract for deed transactions in the mid 20th century, as the large number of black people that were coming from the South moved here to the more industrial cities during the Great Migration. But okay, let me take really fast. I'm gonna take a break. We do have a caller.
Good evening, ma'am. I'm a little bit of a historian. There's 2 points I want to make real quick. How people get your property. You brought that one up about how a person buying a house on contract. Years ago, I think it was around 68 or 67, and it was an article in Ebony magazine, and it was around 70 Night and Damon, where all these people were set out because, like you were saying, they missed a payment. Mm-hmm. And one other way property is being got these days is your back taxes. Now, say for instance, you miss one of your installments, and I just use this for example. Say one installment is $700. Mm-hmm. You have like up to 200. You have up to 2 years to get your property back. But what wind up happening is this: you're gonna wind up getting penalties, interest, mm-hmm. late fee, and for that $700, if you don't redeem your taxes back in 2 years, one of the worst things that could happen is, and what will happen is, you get one of these companies that's not even in this state will get your property, and then by the time you try to get your property tax back, then you got to figure court fees and attorney fees went from $700 to $15,000. Now, mm-hmm. if I'm wrong about anything, please correct me. I can make a mistake. They put erasers on pencils anyway.
No. So that's definitely true. Everything I think that you said was definitely facts. Completely what I said, for instance, reverse redlining, getting people into homes and they can't afford the homes. Wells Fargo is a bank that actually partnered up with churches and had the pastors of the churches preaching, we need black excellence. We need to make sure that we have these black homes. Go apply at Wells Fargo. But Wells Fargo is one of the banks that definitely reverse redline most of these consumers. They definitely said, "Oh, we will give you a loan, but you have so much in interest. You won't have a low monthly mortgage." Like it's all it's done is very tactfully and very indiscreetly. So I just want to get into that. So the question is, if we know all of this, what should we be doing now? What is stopping us now in 2020? There has been new regulations going on. Everything is supposed to be copacetic. Why, if we have all of these organizations preventing redlining, reverse redlining, blockbusting, what could be the issue? So I do want to state, as recent in 2017, 19.3% of black applicants were denied a conventional home loan compared to the 7.9% for whites, according to the Federal Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. So it's still very, very possible that blockbusting, redlining, and reverse redlining is still going on. So what could you do yourself to get a home as a black person? I would definitely encourage people to take the time to learn about real estate before anything, and about securing home loans, about conventional loans, FHA loans, VA loans, any type. You need to make sure if you're taking out this type of money, you need to make sure you know what you're working with, because all of the written language, the legal terms is what going to hurt you. Okay, let's get a caller really quick. There we go.
Good evening again, ma'am.
Good evening.
If I'm wrong about things, you can correct me once again. One of the biggest problems is I like to refer to as hidden racism.
Yes.
That company you just got through mentioning, Wells Fargo, guess what? They got a bailout from the federal government.
They did.
And one of the things that happens, and we don't talk about, you got the poorest white people that in terms of capital, and we look at certain research and all that, and you can have a black person that have the middle income. The poorest white people wind up a lot of times having a lot more in terms of capital. And that's a fact, and they can be much more mobile. And when you look at a lot of times, when you look at home ownership, a lot of times when it comes to middle income or upper middle income, their wealth is in their home. And there's several things you could do with a home. You could pass it on. You can use it, get a loan to start a business. And that's one of the things that keep black folks behind. They don't want blacks to gain capital in this country any type of way. And
exactly.
Like I said, go back to hidden racism. Now, if I'm wrong, you can correct me.
I will. I'll correct you if you're wrong. But you're not. This is true. So, again, that's why I'm making sure that you guys understand the importance of reading in between the lines. You should read how much your taxes will be on your home. You should read how much percentage people are taking, how much interest you are paying. What are you signing up for? What are you signing up for? Just don't be too excited just because you received a loan. Make sure that you're understanding what the loan is and how you're going to pay it. Have a plan. Another thing is, we shouldn't be taking loans out for 30 years. That's a loan. Your interest is almost always going to be compounded. You're almost always going to be paying so much more than what you should have. I would definitely suggest taking 15-year loans out. The monthly costs may be more expensive, but you're cutting out interest at that point, and in 15 years you'll be at home. If it's too much, you need to take the time out to save up. Take the time out to create a plan. Yes, we all want to be homeowners, but do we have a plan to execute that, to make it happen? Another thing is, you want to save up costs, not only for the down payments and closing payments. You have to think about moving costs. You have to move from where you're at now. That's going to cost money. What if stuff is wrong there? That's going to cost money. Closing payments, they're always varying. When you're searching for homes, initially, you don't know what the closing payments may be. That's why it's very important that you're reading between the lines and you're understanding what's going on. Another key, very important key is, let's start investing in multi-unit homes. If you buy a 2-unit, 3-unit apartment building, we have plenty flats here in Chicago, Illinois. You can live in one of those and rent the other out. That can help pay your mortgage and save money if you go 3 or higher. So then you'll basically be living rent-free. This will be a key for us people of color in general. Buying one home, you really can't make an investment off of that unless you're not going to live there. You know, you can rent it out. Maybe you can Airbnb it, or you're going to pay it off so you can give it to your children. But in the meantime, you won't make money off a home that you're living in unless it's a multi-unit home. So those will be the very, very key facts that I give to you guys. We need to learn more about real estate. Understand these legal terms. We learned redlining, reverse redlining, and blockbusting today. Now that we know about that, that's going to make a sharper image of how we go about our ways of seeking purchases. We're going to know, is this a neighborhood where the bank is going to be like, oh, we need to jack these prices up? Or am I black trying to move into a white neighborhood and I'm still being reverse redlined and being charged way more than people in the area? And make sure that you live in a multi-unit home. In 2020, that's definitely great advice. Live in one, rent the other two out, and let's try to make things better. We also offer classes with the NAACP. The next class, we haven't set it up yet, but we will definitely make sure that you guys are aware so you can come out, get a little bit more information from real estate professionals, appraisers, people that actually know what they're talking about. We would definitely love to see you guys out and come support us. But that's all of the information that I'll make sure that you guys understand on this Friday. So I just want to thank you guys for being with me, seeing me, understanding what's going on. And I want to let you guys know that you can contact us at 773-261-5890. We are also located at 5820 West Chicago Avenue, Chicago, Illinois, 60651. Our next meeting will be on Saturday, December 7th. That will be at 1 p.m. at this location. We would love to see you guys come out. We are here to help the community and make sure everything goes great. And thank you so much for tuning in with me. I am Jamesia Banks with Poetic Justice here at the NAACP Chicago Westside branch, hosting on CAN TV. You have a great night.